You fell right into your calling for sure, and very early. And tell me really quickly, or as long as you want to go on, uh, who gave you that first shot to let you do multiple voices during live radio? It seems like that guy was pretty courageous.
That was Rich Galano at KVEN in Ventura. He was my first program director for the satirical radio show I started to do. And Rich said to me basically, and I quoted him. He said, "Phil, just prep your show like you're not going to get one phone call." And that was the best piece of advice I could possibly have gotten. So I was no longer needing to work the phones. I could just go anywhere I wanted to go and do anything I wanted to do. And it naturally circled back to the phones because I would be doing this goofy stuff and I looked down at the phones and go, I wonder if I can get phone calls on this stuff. Let's try this. Um, or if a phone call came in, I'd stay in character. For instance, the first character that ever got a phone call was a Iraqi that this was Desert Shield, Desert Shield. And this Raj Farin was on, he says, Saddam Hussein is not such a bad guy. He's a good guy. He takes American Express, some shit that I said. And all of a sudden, my producer's waving and going, he's pointing at the phone back. I go, what? He says, people want to talk to the Iraqi. I said, put them through. That's how that happened.
I love that. It's
Yeah,
just
and people
fantastic. That's
people
just
came out.
tremendous. And I've heard you once were quoted as saying, "I don't do stereotypes, I do characters."
I hope that's true. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of black characters, and I did not want to do blackface humor. And but I asked my black audience, I asked my black listeners, what do you think? And some of them responded by saying, "We like you because you do real characters. You're not doing stereotypical." And I took that as a compliment, but I just stopped doing obviously ethnic voices, or at least I stopped identifying them because I still have in my act, David, a character that I've done who I love very much. His name is Professor Emery Clayton. Now, at one time, I identified him as African American. Now, I'm not going to do it at all. So they can come into my class, sit there, and go, "Are you black?" And here's what I do: I say, "You might have the wrong classroom. What do you think? Let's go find your class." And I pick him up, and I hang him out the window, about 5 stories up. I said, "You in the right place now, aren't you?" "Yeah." So I put him back in. And that's Professor Emery Clayton. No patience. He's there to teach, and I'm not gonna. I don't mess. So there you go.
That
But what I
that's
stopped.
that that's the best way to seem to be.
Yeah,
The best way to present it is to not present it. And then if
yeah,
you wanna
exactly.
you wanna come up with what you think it is, then do it because I'm just doing a voice and
I'm just doing
everybody
what
can sound anybody can sound like anybody else. I don't care
it's
if you're
true.
black or white or Mexican. Anybody can sound like anybody else.
Yeah, especially white people in Louisiana, no different from black folks in Louisiana. Everybody sounds the same down there, and so that was what I stopped doing. I stopped identifying the ethnicity of these characters and just boom. And that was a very pivotal moment. So because I'm sensitive to that, man, and there's black actors that I know who jokingly will say to me, "You've taken a lot of jobs away from us, Phil." But I know underneath that is there's a level of truth. But uh, so anyway, make a long story short, yeah, it's better to just investigate the character, investigate the individual itself, rather than go into some broad, socially awkward commentary about race.